We all have something, I guess, that we could do. And that was in that moment, before that, when I thought I fooled them, you know, that somehow I'm up here and I shouldn't be. I realized, yeah, I should be.
For many people in the world, there is a moment of clarity when you see the world differently than you saw it previously. Those are the moments when we wake up to life. I'm Rabbi Josh Bennett, and this is Waking Up to Life, a podcast about those moments. Today on our show, I am so excited to welcome Marcia Nodel. Marcia is the founder and creator and owner of Marcia's Pickled Munchies, a line of pickled products, pickles, tomatoes, asparagus, and maybe even new things coming in the world. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Rabbi. First, I want to thank you for inviting me today to hear my story.
Fantastic. Marcia, there was a moment when you went from being a mom and a community member to being the owner of Marcia's Pickled Munchies. How did that happen? Tell us what happened to make that change in your life.
I remember exactly what that moment was because, well, let me give you a little background. I had been making the bread and butter pickles since my son was born, so it's like 1980. It was a hobby, and every summer I would make that and jam and then give it out to friends during the year. So fast forward, both of my children are married, about to have kids. I needed something constructive to do. And I thought, let's see how far I can take this. It was kind of a joke and kind of testing myself. And I went through the process, which, as I look back now, it should have probably taken me a few days. It took me months to figure out how to trademark, how to get registered with the FDA, to pick out labels, whatever it was. I had the product, but I needed all the other things. And somehow I did it. Looking back, like I said, I can't believe that I did those things. And at some point, so they're on a shelf. I remember one store was kind enough to put my products there, Market Square in West Bloomfield. And my daughter-in-law told me about the Good Food Award out of San Francisco. And it's a nonprofit based on not just good taste, but it has to be healthy, sustainable, non-GMO, just clean food. So I sent the product off. Next thing I know, I'm in a finalist. Found out the day my daughter was getting married that I was a finalist. And I won. And it was almost to me like I fooled them. I got away with this. It's so easy. And I remember I flew out to San Francisco for the awards. My son and daughter-in-law went with me. And standing on the stage with Alice Waters and Nell Newman, that was the moment when I realized I didn't fool anybody. It's really a good product. I worked hard to get it where it was. And I just kind of soaked in the moment that this is really happening. And I remember that specifically as being the moment.
It's amazing. First of all, let me say congratulations.
Thank you.
You are a big deal. This is a big deal.
No.
I know that you may not think of it that way, but just to make sure our listeners have a little bit of reference, Nell Newman is Paul Newman's daughter and one of the creators of the Good Food Awards. And Alice Waters is who? Who is she for the world?
She is the mother of Farm to Table. She started in 1977 or the early 70s in Berkeley, California, a restaurant called Chez Panisse. And she grew everything out in the back. So what you ate that day was what she could bring in.
So here you are. You're getting an award from Nell Newman and Alice Waters. I'll say it again. You are the real deal. This is the real deal. So what, after you came home and sort of understood that life had changed for you because you now had not just fooled them, but had an excellent product, what was the first thing you thought about for the next stage of your life? What was your goal?
I don't think that I thought that far ahead. It was one step in front of the other. First I came back, and because I won the award, I was legitimate. And I found a distributor immediately. And he was the one, I only had 2 products at the time. He said to me, extend it. You need a whole line. It was word of mouth. It was, I guess, working hard to get where I took it. And it just kind of evolved.
So you
It
didn't,
evolved. I wasn't thinking, 10 years from now, I'm going to be doing this.
right.
It was one step in front of the other, like I said. And it just, as it grew, I worked harder. And then COVID came. COVID, actually, I did better because everything was mail order. I have an online site and through Amazon. So we survived during COVID.
So here you are. You've won an award. You start to evolve the business.
Actually, can I interrupt you? 3 awards.
You've won 3 awards, even better. And you're starting to build this business almost not intentionally, but with intention. So what is, for everybody sitting out there listening to this podcast who has an idea, who has a family recipe or a dream or a concept out there, what is the most important thing you learned in the process? I'm not talking about a physical action to take, but what's the spiritual thing that you learned that you can share with others?
It sounds trite, but to believe in yourself. We all have something, I guess, that we could do. And that was in that moment before that, when I thought I fooled them, that somehow I'm up here and I shouldn't be. I realized, yeah, I should be. Believe in yourself. And I also thought, wow, all you have to do is really work hard. I know that sounds like something you've probably heard since you were a kid, but when you apply it to something that you like, it really works.
So
And
work hard and love what you do. Those two go hand in hand if you can make that happen.
that's ideal. Not everybody gets to love what they do, even if they're successful.
So I want to take you back a little bit from here and not talk about the business anymore, but the business of raising children. You're the mother of 2 fantastic adults now.
Thank you.
How did the message of Marcia's pickled munchies, not Marcia's pickled monkeys, but Marcia's...
They're good too.
They're good too. How did the story evolve from the way you raised your children? What lessons of life can you share with us as the mother of 2 children who've become really wonderful, successful adults?
Again, believe in yourself. Believe that you can do it. And putting the work in makes a difference.
Were there moments as you were raising your kids that you felt maybe you didn't have the tools, you didn't know what you were doing?
Every day. Every day. If you're a parent, you know that they challenge you, they test you. You wonder sometimes what you're doing. Am I doing something wrong? Am I doing it right? I guess, just like the moment with the pickles, that I guess I did it right, because to say what you just said, I have 2 great children, and I'm really proud of that. I feel like I did have something to do with who they are today as adults. Remember having conversations with you when the kids were younger. Sometimes you don't know where to turn, but they turned out good, and they like to cook.
I love that. And, I think it's so important that people hear that as parents, really in any place in our lives, you don't always know the right answers, but you make decisions, you move forward, you do the best that you can with values. And in the end, if you believe in yourself, if you believe in your own personal mission, then the results are almost obvious afterwards. Having said that, I can't help but think in a Jewish context of the ancient Israelites standing on the edge of the border with the Promised Land and Moses and Joshua send in the spies, and they come back seeing 10 of the spies come back saying it's a land filled with giants. 2 say it's a land flowing with milk and honey. You're sort of like those 2 spies, Caleb and Joshua, who see an opportunity in front of you. You see the chance to make something happen in your life. I guess I have a question for you. What's next with the business? What's next with life? What's the next dream for you? What is the next land flowing with milk and honey?
Portugal. I'm going there in September. I'm at the point in my life. My children are grown. I have grandchildren. There's no long-term desires now or trying to plan what's going to happen. I enjoy my life. I love being with my kids. They're everything to me. And what happens with the business is just icing on the cake.
And I would say maybe the advice for a person in your situation is believe in yourself. And whatever happens next will happen because you're going to just put yourself out in the world and wonderful opportunities will be in front of you. And then you get to make choices about how to move forward, which I think applies both in business and in our personal lives, right?
Raising kids.
And raising children.
The worst that happens, so it didn't work out the way you wanted. So you take a step back and try again. What I would tell kids now is have a sense of humor. I wish that I had realized that, although I think that when you're in the throes of raising children, you're not thinking about, they're just doing what kids do. But if you didn't answer and you just took a step back and, that's the way they are, I think things would be easier.
So what mistakes did you make in business?
That's a good question. I think working harder.
Not smarter?
No, working harder. It would have taken, I always said, had I been 30 years younger when I started, I was 64. It's not easy. And if I had been able to put in 8 to 10 hour days, it might be a different, but I wasn't looking for that. Joe McClure, who owns McClure's, they're 2 young guys that probably work 10-hour days. It's nothing to them. They're in their 30s. And I'm not making an excuse about age. It's just at this point in my life, that isn't what I guess I wasn't looking to kill myself in order to get this done.
Right. So you potentially could have created more if you had put more time and energy into this business. But I think maybe the lesson to learn from that is have realistic expectations about what you do want to do and put all of yourself into those expectations at whatever level. You didn't have the dream of building a multinational corporation of pickles.
Right.
You had the dream of creating something special and beautiful that people would love.
Exactly. And I was thinking small term, the community, people here know about it locally. I wasn't thinking, because I wasn't ready to put that in.
I'm so inspired, actually, by the story. Jokingly, we talked before the show about the fact that I love manufacturing. I've had 1,000 ideas, and I have never actually put one of those ideas into action. But I'm actually inspired by you because you took this idea and somehow created something out of nothing. And it's like artwork. You have created something artistic that is beautiful that I hope people will love. And to be fair, everybody can get this product all over southeastern Michigan in a variety of stores and hopefully growing that list of stores soon. So I encourage people, where can we go to get the product online? What's the website?
marciasmunchies.com.
marciasmunchies.com. Please do not mistake that with marciasmonkeys.com.
That's a whole other business.
I think you should maybe buy that that website just so we have that as well.
Right. Will do. Because now I could do that in 5 minutes when it took me a month to do it originally.
So one last twist here before we end the show. You and I have talked about maybe having some cooking classes here at Temple Israel. What kinds of cooking classes do you see us doing connected to pickles, connected to Jewish foods, connected to something in your life? What are you excited about?
I would love to teach people how to make preserved foods and jam. I was talking to one of the women that work here, and I said, if Rabbi Josh and I did do a cooking class on like how to make jam, would you be interested? She said, absolutely. So it's an old-fashioned hobby that not a lot of people do today, but it's fabulous, and it's great when your kids see it too.
One of the things I really like about that is that here at Temple Israel, we have a greenhouse where we have plants growing, including several fig trees. I make a fig jam. We should make fig jam together.
Absolutely. A little cheese, crackers, manchego cheese, and fig jam is fabulous.
One of the things that's so interesting to me is that pickles, figs, which are something that we find in the Middle East and Israel, all of these foods do have roots in our Jewish souls. So was pickles for you also a Jewish endeavor?
No.
Not at all?
Not at all.
Just something that you loved?
Yes. I do remember, this is an interesting little fact, the bread and butter pickles, that name evolved during the war when food was scarce and people would make a sandwich out of butter with pickles on it, and they called them bread and butter pickles.
Amazing. Those are the sweet pickles.
Yes.
I don't love those. That's not my favorite
you'll
product.
Love the little hotties with the spicy.
Okay.
Spicy hot.
I'm in. Anything hot, I like that. Marcia, I said it earlier, it's really inspiring. I'm excited about bringing the Jewish side as a rabbi to the preserving side of pickling and jams, and the partnership is really going to be beautiful. So everybody should look out for the advertisements soon on social media here at Temple Israel for Marcia's Munchies and Rabbi Josh getting together for classes.
I can't wait. I'm so excited about this. He just sprung this on me, so I didn't know about it, but I'm more than willing. I think that's a great idea.
So we're coming near the end of our podcast here. There is one question that I ask everybody. Is there something right now that you're either watching on TV or reading or listening to, a book, a podcast, a television show, that is inspiring to you, something that you would offer as a recommendation for people listening?
Well, I don't think most people would be interested in American Ninja Warrior, but that happens to be one of my favorite shows. I like the competition. I like that. I think that started like during COVID when things were down, and it was just about someone excelling in something. But I did watch a great documentary on the Great Lakes, things that I never knew. I'm not from here, but I've lived here for 45 years. It was very interesting.
I love the difference. The documentary about the Great Lakes and American Ninja Warrior, which, by the way, is not so different from you starting your business. These are people who really start out of nowhere, have a dream, have a goal that they aspire to, and of all walks of life come to this show and really are spectacular athletes, spectacular, accomplished gymnasts, and it is a truly inspiring show as well.
I'm glad you think so.
So the lesson today that you have shared with us is believe in yourself, and things that are beautiful and inspiring can happen. And I really appreciate you sharing that with everybody. Thank you so much for being on the show.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
So we've come to another end of Waking Up to Life with Rabbi Josh, 18 minutes where we talk about inspiring things in the world, hoping that everybody has learned something and can apply this into your life. Until next time, keep waking up to life. L'chaim.